In part 2 of Dinosaurs in the Bible, we're going to focus on what God says about Behemoth. Evolutionists attack the Bible because the truths it contains destroy their worldview. They want to hide the idea that man lived alongside the dinosaurs. Other modern creatures lived alongside the dinosaurs as well, but that's for a future segment. Well, it just looks like evolutionists were wrong. Again, instead of being separated by hundreds of millions of years, dinosaurs and man were created on the same day, day 6 of creation week. Lord, we want to thank you for leaving us your word, which can speak to our culture even today and set the record straight about man, dinosaurs, dragons, and the Bible. We're going to focus on the book of Job, particularly chapter 40 in this segment, and talk about God's behemoth. In Job 40, verse 6, it says, "Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, 'Dress for action like a man.'" In verse 15, God says, "Behold, Behemoth, which I made as I made you." You see, God is directly saying that this creature is real because he made him as he made Job. The word behemoth is actually an intensive or majestic plural, meaning something like colossal beast. It's similar to the way the word Elohim is used for God in the Old Testament, which is a majestic form used, majestic plural that is, with a singular verb. Why? Well, because God is one. God goes on to say, "He eats grass like an ox. Behold, his strength is in his loins, and his power is in the muscle of his belly. He makes his tail stiff like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. He is the first in the works of God. Let him who made him bring near his sword." Behemoth was a large creature. First in the works of God means one of the largest creatures he's made, if not the biggest. And the description fits well a Brachiosaurus dinosaur, which is a type of a sauropod. Unfortunately, some Bible commentaries, such as the Life Application Study Bible, suggest that it was possibly an elephant or a hippopotamus. Neither Answers in Genesis, Creation Ministries International, or the Institute for Creation Research think that that is remotely an accurate interpretation. They do not reflect what the text is saying, and they interpret it through a secular worldview. The New Answers book says, "Neither the elephant nor the hippo eat grass like an ox, nor do they have a tail that moves like a cedar. An elephant has a thin tail that hangs rather casually most of the time, and the hippo's tail is tiny in comparison. It really only fits a sauropod dinosaur." Neither the elephant or the hippo would be considered first in the works of God if we consider the sauropod dinosaurs, which were created on day 6 of creation week. In both chapters 40 and 41, God is continuing his response to Job and his friends that began in chapter 38. He's challenging them, and particularly Job, by saying, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth?" God glorifies himself through his creation, and we are to worship him as creator. Philosophies like evolutionary theory directly blaspheme God. Now, blasphemy is the act of insulting or showing contempt for God, lack of reverence.
That's for blasphemy.
Truth of Genesis hopes to bring us back to the glory of God by going down that straight and narrow road of dinosaurs or dragons in the Bible. Join us for our next segment of Dinosaurs, Dragons, and the Bible.